It's amazing how much Google Maps has transformed this kind of experience. In the old days, you would have a lot more trouble doing something like this simple trip to look at a temple. With Google Maps at your fingertips, it's so easy. I still mentally kick myself when I think back to when I left from Taiwan a few years ago, because at that time smartphones and Google mapping and satellite mapping was quite common, but for some reason I had ignored it completely, and I'd never updated my technology, and I had nothing like that with me. And I remember flying into Kuala Lumpur from the Philippines, and I spent a long time at the airport going from shop to shop to shop looking for maps. I wanted a map of Malaysia, a map of Kuala Lumpur, because I was on a touring bicycle and I wanted to be able to find my way. And it was quite a frustrating experience, and yet all I really needed was a smartphone, and I could have found my way from the airport into Kuala Lumpur quite easily. But for whatever reason, I had a blind spot where smartphones and tablets and Google Maps was concerned. I had no idea that that technology was as advanced as it was. And this is the road that I came up from the left, and I'm going to turn right, and this will eventually wind its way back to Umfang. I have another I'm such a dummy story. I got on this road that I've been driving for quite a while, thinking I'm on my way back to Umfang, but something didn't quite feel right. I don't know, it felt like I'd gone too far. I should have run into something, an intersection, so I thought I better check my Google Maps. And guess what? I'm on my way to Myanmar. The border with Myanmar is like right around the corner, and I'm not going to go any further because I don't want to spark an international incident. I don't want to have people, I don't want men with guns running at me. So luckily I checked the map when I did, because I could have just sort of driven into Myanmar or something. Anyway, time to turn around and go in the right direction, back into Thailand, back to where I'm supposed to be going. Ay, ay, ay. It's funny that not long ago I was babbling into the GoPro, praising how Google Maps has transformed my life and made things so much easier. But even when I look at Google Maps and check it carefully, I still practically end up in the wrong country. And honestly, I'm not really that dumb. I'm not. I think I am of average intelligence. So how I constantly do these things, I blame it all on the GoPro, because it's like 70% of my brain power. Ah! Whoa! Wet tar, and it is as slippery as ice. Ay, 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 ay. Could feel the wheels of the scooter like spinning out from under me. Oh, poor thing. There's nothing worse than wet tar, is there? Just looking back at the bike, now my tires are covered in stone and sand. Making a mess of the scooter. I drove on the other side, and the tar seemed quite old. It's not fresh. It's not like I'm so dumb I would deliberately ride down freshly laid tar. And yet somehow on this side of the road, it's much wetter, and it's all sticking to my tires. Back on regular pavement. I hope I don't end up with tar and gravel stuck all over the body of the scooter. Ooh. I am back inside the village. The teak temple is over there. So basically after my detour to Myanmar, I'm right back where I started from. I just thought I would check, look the scooter over and see how much tar has been flung everywhere and made a mess. Yeah, it's not great. Just, oh, good grief. Where the wheel was kicking up tar, it kind of threw it towards the engine. Luckily, there is a barrier there, kind of a flap, and it prevented the tar from actually getting into the engine. But there's a bit of a mess right underneath where that flap is. And if you touch it, you just end up with a giant tarry mess. And the mud flap, I imagine, it's actually not that bad. What about the front? No, the front is okay. There's just a little bit of a tar buildup right here at the front of the rear wheel. Yeah. I don't even know how to get this tiny bit of tar off my fingers. Sticky stuff. Makes a mess. Well, in terms of taking the wrong road, it's not entirely my fault, because I'll show you what I mean. When you look on Google Maps, the road I want to follow is shown as a big, thick line, like as if it is the main road. And if you just follow the main road, you will be naturally going in the right direction. And this is the main road ahead of me that I was driving along. And there goes the main road, you know. So I just naturally kept following the main road as I saw it. But the road I'm supposed to follow is this one here. I'm supposed to turn left here. And obviously it's a much smaller road than this one. But on Google Maps, it has it completely backwards. So that's what confused me. So this is where I was supposed to go. Down this tiny road, but Google Maps marks it as a big major road. Nice road though, very pleasant country road. Uh-oh. The road is suddenly turning much less drivable. So it's time for another Google Maps check to see whether I'm on the right road. Yeah, apparently this is where I'm supposed to be going, and it will eventually take me back to the main road, going back to Umfang. Just from the way it was marked on Google Maps, I kind of expected it to be paved and quite smooth the whole way. I wasn't expecting a dirt road. But that's me for trusting Google Maps. Normally, of course, you can, but you can't take it as 100% accurate at all times. Well, just out of curiosity, I'm going to stop here for a second and see if I can gouge at that tar with a stick. Maybe while it's still wet and gooey, I can remove a lot of that stuff just by scraping it out. Just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, it's this whole area in here. You can see all this tar and gravel that kind of got jammed in. Alright, I'm just going to try to dig some of this out, get it out of here before it solidifies. It's probably going to take some gasoline or some kind of solvent to really get that cleaned out, but I can't do that here. I'm just going to try and dig out the worst of it. Well, I guess you can call that a little bit of success. I managed to dig out large chunks of tar that were down there. And of course I ended up with tar all over my hands and all over my pants. It's funny how little things can make such a big, little decisions or mistakes can have such big consequences. I'm driving down that road and there was kind of a, kind of a tarry side on this side and on this side, and down the middle was like, I guess what looks like dry gravel. And all I really needed to do was to steer down the middle of the road and go through the dry gravel. But, it didn't seem particularly wet on the other side. The tar seemed fine. And I don't want to drive down the middle of the road because cars coming up behind me, I always like to stay to the side of the road. So I thought, it'll be fine. Just drive down here. It looks like new tar, but it's not sticky or anything. But of course, as soon as I hit it, didn't take long for this giant mess to happen. Oh well. My life would have been so much better had I just steered down the middle and stayed in the dry gravel. But for whatever reason, I steered for the tar. I thought it was dry. I really did. I didn't think it was so wet. But yeah, with a sun like this, tar melts. That's what it does. All right. We keep going. Interesting little site at the side of the road. A field of rubber trees. Yeah, you can see them all lined up here, rows of them, and each one has a little rubber container and then a spout that was driven into the tree. Yeah, look at that. So they just cut a section of the bark away, and there's kind of a ledge down at the bottom, and then the rubber oozes out of the inside, hits this ledge, runs down the ledge till it gets to the funnel, and then drips into the pot. Yeah, it's quite solid actually right here. Yeah, but every tree has one of these pots. Wonder how liquidy it is. No, it's quite firm. Wonder if it removes tar. This could be it almost looks like soap. You think it could remove the tar from my fingers now. But yeah, there's a little rubber plantation. Let's see, I dug out all that tar that was in there, but you still ended up with some tar stuck to some of the metal here. And on this rubber, a little bit of a mess. But I guess it's not really that bad.